Occupation no more. Israel is a terrorist state. Occupation no more. Israel is a terrorist state. Palestine. Palestine. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. Palestine. 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 We are all Palestinian free. Palestine will be free. Palestine. Palestine. We will never let you die. We will never let you die. Palestine. Palestine. Shame on you. 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 Shame on you.
Upper black tent, yeah.
Palestine. Palestine.
Okay.
Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free.
In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
Gaza, don't you fight.
We will never let you die.
Gaza, don't you fight.
We will never let you die.
Free.
Palestine.
Free.
Palestine. Palestine.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
I say the Palestinians are Gaza. You say power to you. The Palestinians are Gaza.
Power to you.
The Palestinians are Gaza.
Power to you.
Can I send you the picture of the guy that I'm talking about?
Power to you.
The Palestinians lost that in the hospital.
I understand. Can I please just send you this?
Power to you.
Palestinians are Jenin.
Power to you.
Palestinians are Malikoum.
Power to you.
Palestinians are fabulous.
Power to you.
And I say there is only one solution. Everybody says intifada, revolution. There is only one solution.
Intifada revolution.
When Rishi Sunak hears these words, there is only one solution.
Intifada revolution.
There is only one solution.
Intifada revolution.
There is only one solution.
Intifada revolution.
Free.
Palestine.
Free.
Palestine.
Free.
Palestine.
Want the river Tennessee.
Palestine will be free.
Want the river Tennessee.
Palestine will be free.
Gaza, don't you cry.
We will never let you die.
Gaza, don't you cry.
We will never let you die.
In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
Free.
Palestine.
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 And the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
And the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation
river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
1, 2, 3, 4!
Occupation no more!
5, 6, 7, 8!
Israel is a terrorist state!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine! 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 Palestine will be free! Occupation no more! Israel is a terrorist state! Palestine! 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 Palestine will be free! Occupation no more! Palestine! 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 Palestine will be free! Occupation no more! Occupation no more! Palestine! 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 Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Palestine! Occupation no more! Israel is a terrorist state! Israel is a terrorist state! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Palestine! 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 We will never let you die! We will never let you die! We are all Palestinians! We are all Palestinians! We are all Palestinians! We are all Palestinians!
In our thousands, in our millions!
We are all Palestinians!
In our thousands, in our millions!
We are all Palestinians!
In our thousands, in our millions!
We are all Palestinians!
Good evening and thank you so much for being here with us today. The horror that Israel unleashed yesterday at the Al-Ahli Hospital will stay with us all for the rest of our lives. We gather today to honour the memory of the more than 500 Palestinian fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, aunts and uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, who were murdered in yesterday's attack. The 3,000 more who have been killed by Israel's latest bombardment over the last 10 days, and the many thousands more Palestinians who have been killed over the past 75 years of ongoing Nakba. There are few injustices in the world that have continued for so long or demand our solidarity more than the 100 years of dispossession experienced by the people of Palestine. With this vigil, we show the world that we grieve every life that has been taken from us by the forces of colonial occupation and apartheid. We do not forget who is responsible for these deaths. The Israeli genocide of Gaza has been supported with Western weapons and cheered on by Western leaders, including our own Prime Minister, whose house we stand outside today. Yesterday, as the news filtered through, the people of Palestine and the people of the world stood firmly together. Across the Arab world, hundreds of thousands spontaneously took to the streets. They made it clear that no matter what the Americans and their puppets claim, there will never be normalization with an apartheid state. The people of Lebanon, who also struggle against Israeli aggression and occupation, marched on the American embassy. And in the occupied West Bank, the heroic people of Ramallah once again declared that those in Gaza are their brothers and their sisters. There is one Palestinian people, forever undivided and forever unbowed. In the midst of this terrible, terrible darkness, let us reaffirm our commitment to the light. Let us mourn for our martyrs and let us remember always their sheer humanity. We stand here together this evening, united by our grief, but also by our certainty that with our solidarity, the sun will one day rise over a free and peaceful Palestine. To the sea, Palestine will be free. Before we hear from our speakers this evening, please join us in 3-minute silence as we honour the memories of all those who have been killed. Thank you.
When the hurricane swirled and spread its deluge of dark evil onto the good green land, they gloated. The western skies reverberated with joyous accounts. The tree has fallen. The great trunk is smashed. The hurricane leaves no life in the tree. Had the tree really fallen? Never. Not without red streams flowing forever. not while the wine of our thorn limbs fed the thirsty roots, Arab roots alive, tunneling deep, deep into the land. When the tree rises up, the branches shall flourish green and fresh in the sun. The laughter of the trees shall leaf beneath the sun, and birds shall return. Undoubtedly, the birds shall return. The birds shall return. I'd now like to introduce our first speaker, Chris Rose from the Amos Trust. Chris.
Hello, good evening. It's amazing to see so many of you out here in the rain. On Saturday I sent pictures through from the march to our partners and friends in Gaza, sheltering in abandoned buildings, sheltering in a church with no food and no water, and all of them came back saying thank you. Thank you for standing with us and showing we're not alone. When they see pictures of tonight, they will be so deeply moved. We've worked with Al-Ahli Hospital for 25 years, through the Second Intifada and through 5 wars in Gaza. We hoped this year there would be no emergency appeal. Instead, we spent the last month working with them about their breast cancer screening work for Breast Cancer Screening Month, this last month, about Rosy October, as it's called in Gaza. And last night we were meant to have a webinar with the hospital staff and our supporters, talking about their plans and talking about how vital it was that women had these basic services in Gaza. Instead, we were giving an update on the situation when the awful news came through that the hospital had been bombed and hundreds of people were dead. And at that time we had no idea if our staff, our friends, our colleagues were dead or if they were alive. That morning I'd spoken to them, I messaged with the head of social work there, had said, we're all dying in Gaza. There's no fuel, there's no water, and there's hundreds who've escaped to the hospital. We got footage sent through of the staff there playing with the children who were sheltering there so that they wouldn't be to relieve a little bit of the trauma they were experiencing. In fact, 5,000 people were there because it was known as a place of peace and a place of shelter. And under international law, there is no way you should ever attack a hospital. It makes it absolutely clear that you should never, ever attack a hospital. And so people were there because there was no other shelter in Gaza, 5,000 people. The devastating footage of the bomb blast there and the loss of so many lives has ripped through the whole community and through the hospital there. We've just heard people who cannot believe what has happened. And tonight, to stand with you and to remember this awful loss and the loss of this place of great beauty is really profound. Dr. Suhaila Tarazi from the hospital, who's been running it for many years, messaged us a few days ago saying there are no winners in war, we just want peace. Let our plea be that there will be peace, that this will lead to some courage among international actors and that people will stand up and say this can go on no longer. Palestinians must have their rights. Palestinians must be able to bring up their children in peace. No more can this occupation go on. If that happens, it will be a worthy remembrance to these 500 lives. Thank you.
Is Amy Shalan. She's director of the British Palestinian educational charity McCann and a leading British Palestinian voice.
I'm just going to read a short poem by Palestinian poet Fadwa Taqan. Enough for me. Enough for me to die on her earth. be buried in her, to melt and vanish into her soil, then sprout forth as a flower, played with by a child from my country. Enough for me to remain in my country's embrace, to be in her close as a handful of dust, a sprig of grass, a flower.
Thank you. Free, free. Free, free. Free, free. Free, free. Free, free. I'd like to welcome the next speaker to the stage, Janine Harani from the Palestinian Youth Movement. Free, free! Free, free! From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
My name is Janine and I'm here today representing the Palestinian Youth Movement in Britain. We're here today because last night the occupation forces committed a massacre in the Al-Ahli Baptist Hospital in Gaza, murdering over 500 Palestinians. Shame! The scale of yesterday's massacre exposes the true intent of the Zionist project, which is more explicit at this moment than it has ever been before. Intentionally targeting a hospital where mostly women and children were being treated and seeking shelter is the true face of Zionism. Yesterday's massacre followed 2 weeks of Zionist assault on Gaza, 2 weeks of some of the most horrific things we have ever witnessed in our lifetimes. We've seen the bombings of schools, universities, ambulances, and sites of worship. We saw the bombing of Rafah, preventing vital aid from entering from Egypt. We've witnessed over 4,000 deaths, 1,000 of whom are children. This is the true face of Zionism. But Israel does not act alone. 2 days ago, the US, UK, and France blocked a UN Security Council resolution calling for a ceasefire. Over the last 2 weeks, we've seen the dehumanization of Palestinians across Western media outlets. We will never forgive Western media for rendering Palestinians killable, and we will never forget their active participation in our people's genocide. They all have blood on their hands. This assault on Palestine and on Gaza did not begin 2 weeks ago, as much as the media would like you to believe that. For over 75 years, the Zionist regime has attempted to erase us and silence us. They've murdered and maimed us. They've arrested and imprisoned us, and they have tried to threaten and intimidate us. But none of it has worked. We are here today to mourn the eternal souls of our martyrs, but our mourning should never be mistaken for defeat. We're here, we will continue to rise, and Gaza will rise too. Free, free! From the river to the sea! My first political memory was watching the murder of Muhammad al-Durra during the Second Intifada. I was 7 years old when I watched Jamal al-Durra, Muhammad's father, faint as his son was martyred in his arms. Today, Jamal al-Durra is also mourning the loss of two of his brothers to recent attacks. We are a generation that has witnessed cycles of life and death. We have witnessed 16 years of blockade on Gaza, and we have witnessed 7 Gaza wars. We are the Intifada generation, and we're also the liberation generation. Free, free!
Palestine!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
We therefore have a responsibility to the people of Gaza, who pay the highest price and the greatest sacrifice for our collective liberation. Gaza is the heart of our people and the cradle of our struggle, and it is the people of Gaza who we will remember at the hour of liberation. If we were to read the names of all the martyrs of Palestine, we would be here for weeks. That list is comprised of hundreds of thousands of names. People who lived rich lives, had countless untold stories, and left steadfast loved ones behind. These martyrs gave the ultimate sacrifice for our people. Their blood flows through the soil of Palestine and their spirits nourish our determination and resolve. We owe it to them to never forget. In the words of Tamim Barghouti, don't kill them twice by betraying their memory. Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Thank you.
We are not going to let this weather tonight deter us, because while it rains and pours down in London, it rains a different kind of rain in Gaza. Now last night at the hospital, patients were killed, but so were the people working in the hospital, the doctors, the nurses, the other healthcare professionals. And tonight we're joined by some NHS workers who stand with them in solidarity. And the first that I'm going to introduce to you is Shakira. Shakira.
Assalamualaikum. Hi, my name is Shakira. I'm a paediatric nurse and I work in children's healthcare. Every day my colleagues and I in the NHS hold hands of small people and give them hope of health and protection, the kind of hope that every child is owed, the kind of hope that half of Gaza's population, more than 1 million children, are owed. But in the last 12 days, more than 1,000 children have been killed by Israel, killed by the airstrikes, if not by the starvation, through denying them water and power. Power that my colleagues in the hospitals of Gaza rely on to treat the patients on life support machines, to refrigerate medication, to allow equipment to work during surgery. The Israeli government were warned that this would cost lives, but they went ahead and bombed the hospital anyway. And our political establishment in Britain cheered them on. Children are being killed as we stand here. Israel continues to rain down airstrikes on Gaza, and approximately 1 child is dying every 15 minutes. We are all horrified by last night's attack on Al-Ahli Hospital, but many of us are not shocked, because Israel has been attacking hospitals for the last 12 days. In cutting off electricity, they targeted hospitals, knowing their emergency generators would run out in days. They fired at the same hospital on Saturday, they fired at other hospitals, and they gave repeated warnings for evacuations. But the brave heroes working at Al-Ahli stayed behind. They stayed behind to nurse and care and cure the sick and injured, the ones who couldn't leave because they had lost limbs or the sight or were at death's door and too unstable to move, because they do not have the means to leave or simply they have nowhere else to go. None of these people are a target. Hospitals are supposed to be a sanctuary, a place of safety for anyone regardless of where they are from. As healthcare professionals, we do not turn away from those in need. And the doctors, nurses, porters, admin staff and all those allied healthcare workers at Al-Ahli last night lost their lives because they committed themselves to saving others. We will not forget, and we will not stop raising our voices until we see justice, freedom and liberation for the Palestinian people, and for an end to the murderous apartheid regime of the Israeli state. We will not forget their crimes and the crimes of all those who enabled them. We will never forget.
Free, free! Palestine. Free, free!
Palestine.
Free, free!
Palestine.
Free, free!
Palestine.
Free, free!
Palestine.
Free, free!
Palestine.
Free, free!
Palestine.
Free, free!
Palestine.
Free, free!
Palestine.
Free, free!
Palestine.
I'd like to introduce the next speaker, Hamda from the Muslim Association of Britain.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you all. What we've seen last night was a war crime. Israel has been committing war crimes upon war crimes and has been allowed to continue because of the impunity given to them by the likes of our government. So long as the international community fails to hold Israel to account, we will continue to see more atrocities and more war crimes in Gaza, in the West Bank and across all of Palestine. This has to be the moment we say enough. Enough of 75 years of occupation, of settler colonialism, of erasing Palestinian lives. And even when Israel bombs a hospital and we see bodies charred beyond imagination, when we see parents picking up pieces of their children's bodies, our politicians cannot name Israel as the perpetrators of the crime. The impunity has to end now. In the words of Dr. Ghazan Abu Sitta, every Western politician who has declared unconditional support for Israel's war efforts has the blood of these children on their hands. Demand accountability, demand an end to the impunity, demand an end to the genocide of Gaza. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! From the river to the sea! Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Hamda, for those heartfelt words.
Our next speaker is a national officer of the Stop the War Coalition. Please welcome Shabir Al-Aka.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Yesterday, they killed 500 Palestinians in a matter of seconds. Patients, medics, civilians sheltering from the bombing. And we're watching now as the Israeli government claim it wasn't them. The government whose spokesperson claimed responsibility for the bombing, whose IDF Arabic social media said that they euthanized terrorists, who have ministers in their government who have threatened to wipe out Gaza, who have said there are no civilians in Gaza, a military that has bombed 19 hospitals in the last week, ordered hospitals to be evacuated, that has killed 3,500 Palestinians in 10 days. And yet they want us to believe it wasn't them. And our media last week was happy to put uncorroborated lies on their front page about the Hamas attack. But now they tell us we just don't know who did it, despite the abundant evidence. We will remember every Palestinian killed in Al-Ahli Hospital. We will remember every victim of Israel's bombing of Gaza. We will remember the Palestinians being killed in the West Bank, every Palestinian killed, displaced, ethnically cleansed, and living under apartheid and 75 years of occupation. But we will also remember every person that justified this massacre. We will remember Keir Starmer and Emily Thornberry saying that collective punishment on the people of Gaza is legitimate. We will remember David Lammy saying he can't criticize international law violations because he wants to be Foreign Secretary. We will remember every media outlet and those who use their platform to spread lies about the Palestinian people. We will remember Rishi's smiling mug when he stood just there with Netanyahu, the war criminal. We know that Israel cannot do what it does to the Palestinian people without British support and British bombs. The door of 10 Downing Street is dripping with Palestinian blood. We will remember just yesterday, Suela embracing that war criminal Tzipi Livni, who should be immediately expelled from this country. And she has the audacity to suggest that those of us who are standing against the murder of Palestinian people are sympathizing with terrorists. You are the terrorist sympathizer, Suela! It is right that we are here today to mourn our brothers and sisters who've been killed, but we need to turn our pain, our outrage, our anger into action and organization. We need to make sure that none of these cowards can ever claim that they represent the British people or that they didn't know what was happening. I salute the millions of people across the world that have taken the streets for Palestine. I salute the people of France and Germany who have waved the Palestinian flag high even as they are arrested. And here, where Suela says she wants to stop us from protesting, from waving the Palestinian flags, and claims that chanting from the river to the sea is anything but a chant for the freedom and justice of all the people in historic Palestine. We will be out on Saturday again, and we will turn the streets of London into a sea of black, white, red and green. And I say to left-wing MPs, I say to trade unionists, I say to every person who has a conscience, join us on the streets this Saturday media's propaganda. We will show the people of Palestine that we stand firmly with them. We will break this government's imperialist project, and we won't stop fighting until we bring this war crime supporting government down. Suhaila thinks she's coming for us. The British people are coming for you and your government. When I say long live Palestine, you say long live Gaza. Long live Palestine. Long live Palestine. Long live Palestine. See you on Saturday, Solidarity.
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! It is my great honour to introduce our next speaker, James. James is an A&E doctor and a lecturer in humanitarian studies at the University College London. Welcome, James.
Good evening, friends. I'm here in solidarity with the people of Palestine and health workers in Palestine. I've got a few words I want to say, reiterating some of what my nursing colleague has also just said. In the long struggle against Israeli violence and settler colonialism, Palestinian medical workers have always shown their courage, their steadfast courage in the face of Israeli threats and bombs. They've shown ingenuity, saving lives and providing compassion and comfort to the dying, while an apartheid wall and Western-funded weapons hold up essential medical and humanitarian supplies. Over the last 10 days, hospitals have been more than just places to treat those wounded by Israeli barbarism. Sorry, my phone's a bit wet here. They've become places of refuge for all of those in Gaza driven from their homes. Even as Israel cruelly orders hospitals to evacuate, doctors and nurses have refused to abandon their patients. Even for a colonial army given carte blanche by the American and British governments, we thought that the sanctity of a hospital was a line that they would not cross. Criminals. Criminals. Yesterday, Israel revealed that there is no low to which they will not stoop. They will not allow the people of Gaza safety and security anywhere in their homeland. There is no crime Israel can commit that will stop the flow of weapons from our own criminal government. Criminals. International law and the most basic moral values mean nothing to the Israeli military and its Western allies, the folks that sit in the office across the road. It is up to us, the people, to stand up for the fundamental principles safeguarded by those of us working in the medical and healthcare professions. Everyone deserves to live healthily, safely, and freely in a free Palestine. Thank you.
Our next speaker, speaking on behalf of the Palestinian Forum in Britain, please welcome Faris Tamimi.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'd like to start by reciting some verses from the Quran which give me meaning in these times. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولا تحسبن الذين قتلوا في سبيل الله أمواتا بل أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون فرحين بما آتاهم الله من فضله ويستبشرون بالذين لم يلحقوا بهم من خلفهم ألا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. صدق الله العظيم. Never think of those martyred in the cause of Allah as dead. Rather, they are alive with their Lord. well provided for, rejoicing in Allah's bounties and being delighted for those yet to join them. There will be no fear for them, nor will they grieve. As of today, over 3,500 Palestinians have been killed. 500 of them were killed last night. Over 1,000 children have been killed in total, including one Palestinian American child who just turned 6. He was stabbed 26 times by a heartless man who was brainwashed by Western media. We mourn our dead. We mourn our injured. We also mourn from afar in the knowledge that many of us have family and loved ones in Gaza and across Palestine. As a community here in the UK, we have been deeply affected. We have been dehumanized time and time again by the media and politicians. We are harassed by police. We are not seen as human beings, and our plight is continuously trivialized. We are tired, and we are here to say that enough is enough. I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult for everyone to feel anything other than sorrow right now, especially those who have lost families and friends. But we have to stay strong. The apartheid state is currently attempting a genocide in Gaza. They've cut off life essentials, they're killing indiscriminately, and they want to push the Gazans into the Sinai, making them refugees once more. But the people